You are the architect of your own life. Completely. Totally. Unapologetically. That fact does not please you. It challenges you. It does not comfort. It calls you to action. Because once you realize that absolutely everything that you are, everything that you feel, and everything that you experience starts and ends with you, you have no one left to blame, no narrative left to hide behind, no excuse good enough to keep you from the reality that you've created. Most humans never get beyond this place. They wait all their lives for someone to see them, to save them, to provide them with a blueprint. They wait for a sign, for approval, for the right moment. But here's what they don't understand. The world doesn't give you a path. It mirrors the one you tread. And until you own up to the direction, life will continue to hand you detours masquerading as destiny. You were born with potential, not orders, not demands. Just room, big, open, untaken. And into that room came voices. Some gentle, some harsh, all molding you. Your parents imparted to you their dreams, their nightmares. School instructed you where to sit and when to talk. Friends instructed you what was okay. Culture instructed you what you should desire. But no one ever really taught you this, that you have the right to opt again, to rebuild, to rewrite. Responsibility is not guilt. It is not discipline wrapped up in self-blame. It is power. It is the choice to stop wondering, why did this happen to me? And begin wondering, what am I going to do with it? Few ever make that bridge. They like being victims because victimhood requires nothing of them but to tell again and again the tale of their woe. But growth? Growth requires the closure of that narrative and the opening of a new one. You're not broken. You are unclaimed. You've given away fragments of yourself to folks who had no idea how to hold them. You've had things stacked upon you, building your foundation. But what chance builds will always crumble when pressed upon. So if you desire strength, true strength, you're going to have to build it for yourself. Consider your life. All of it. The outcomes you prefer. The outcomes you've avoided. The experiences you've attempted to erase. The habits you repeat. These are not coincidence. They are results. And if you desire a different outcome, you need to be a different cause. That is responsibility. That is power. That is where change is created. Not tomorrow. Not after the next error. Not when you're more prepared. No. Because waiting is a way of escape. It's masquerading as patience, but it's actually permission to remain the same. Focusing on yourself means stepping into the mirror with both courage and compassion. It means seeing where you've fallen short and refusing to make excuses for it. It means owning the chaos and the potential. It means standing at the center of your life, not as a victim of it, but as its architect. Nobody else is going to come and repair it. Nobody else should. This is your life, your head, your time. And no matter what has happened to you, no matter what you have been through, the next page is yours to write. But only if you pick up the pen. Only if you stop waiting to be saved and start creating a reason. You are responsible for your life. That's not a burden. That's the invitation you've been avoiding. And now it's time to answer. Growth doesn't start with motivation. It starts with ownership. Not the kind that will sound good in a caption, but the kind that calls you out when nobody's looking. The kind that requires you to look in the mirror, not for inspiration but for accountability. You can't grow making excuses. You can't evolve explaining your stagnation away. There is no breakthrough where there is blame. And there is no power where there is avoidance. Most people never grow because growth takes something brutal. Honesty. It's easy to say, it's not my fault. It's easy to point to your past, your upbringing, your circumstances. But easier is not the same as better. And the truth? The truth is that all the excuses you've made to remain exactly where you are precisely the thing holding you back from where you need to go. Excuses are soothing. They snuggle up around you and whisper, you did your best. But growth doesn't whisper, it insists. It demands, did you do everything you could have? It prompts, did you do the uncomfortable thing, the disciplined thing, the thing that would have actually moved you forward? When you zero in on yourself, truly focus, you quit rehearsing the excuse story. You start writing the success story. The inquiry is not, whose fault is it? The inquiry is, what can I do next? That one switch propels you from powerless to powerful, from reactive to intentional, from hopeful to deliberate. Grit does not demand perfection. It demands commitment. T doesn't demand genius. T demands grit. The courage to look at your habits, to challenge them, to shatter them, even if no one looks on. It's easy to grow when you're applauded. But most of your growth will be done in silence, in the discipline of early morning, in the quiet abandonment of what no longer works for you, in choosing to begin anew not because you were told to, but because you've realized you're worth it. That sort of ownership isn't boisterous, but it's compelling. And it rewrites your life one tiny, consistent, never giving up step at a time. Most people get discipline wrong. They believe it's restriction, sacrifice, the death of fun. But the real truth is discipline is not a cage. It's a key. A key to actual freedom, not the kind marketed through slogans, but the kind you earn. Without discipline, you're a slave to everything around you. Your emotions, your desires, your environment. Whatever feels good wins. Whatever's loudest leads. And so you float, drawn by whim, borne by circumstance. You wake up responsive, spent hollow. But when you create discipline, all of that shifts. You cease to be at the mercy of the moment. You begin to move with intention, not urgency. Discipline is not robotics. It's being grounded. It's the secret vow you make to yourself, and then fulfill. Even when you're weary. Even when it's inconvenient. Because you've chosen that your future matters more than your emotions. The disciplined man is hazardous. Not because he's tough, but because he's intentioned. He doesn't require instruction. He already knows. He already made up his mind. And that type of self-leadership can't be purchased. It has to be constructed. Each minor choice counts. When you opt for the gym instead of the couch, the book rather than the scroll, the plan as opposed to the excuse, you are piling evidence. I am in control. And the more you pile, the tighter you get. Not merely physically, mentally, spiritually. Because every instance of discipline strengthens the fact you are reliable. And if you trust yourself, the world begins trusting you as well. Not because you're flawless, but because you're reliable. Liberty isn't discovered in doing as you please. Freedom lies in becoming the type of person who does what is right, particularly when it's difficult. That's the paradox. The structure you fight is the structure that frees you. So construct the habits. Stick to the schedule. Complete the thing you committed to doing. Because the more disciplined your life is, the stronger and serene it becomes. Confidence is not in the mirror. It's not gained from applause. It doesn't derive from titles, likes, or hollow praise. Actual confidence, the kind that will last, that will lead, is constructed from the inside out. And it starts with alignment. Alignment is when your actions align with your values. It is when your words are supported by behavior. It means the man you show the world is the same one who looks back at you when the world is hushed. But for everyone there is a gap. A gap between what they do and what they say. Between what they want and what they are willing to labor for. And that gap is where insecurity flourishes. When you are misaligned, you cannot trust yourself. And if you don't trust yourself, you will pursue confidence where it can't be found. From others, from status, from affirmation. But what is outside can be lost. What is created inside remains. Looking at yourself requires aligning your life. Not in one big leap, but in firm, intentional steps. It means no longer speaking one way and acting another. No longer acting for validation while your foundation cracks silently. You desire to enter a room and be unshakable? Then live in a manner that demands no posturing. Let your standards shine through in your habits. Let your values shine through in your decisions. Let your limits be apparent even when they cost you ease. Confidence is gained through integrity, not public integrity but private calibration. The decisions nobody notices. The vows you make when nobody's watching. The fights you win without having to boast about them. It's simple to be bold when life is working in your favor. But alignment provides you with grounding when it is not. Because you know who you are even when the world doesn't applaud you. When your life is aligned, you don't require motivation. You act because it's who you are. You don't crumble under judgment. You're already validated by your own behavior. You don't need to control outcomes because you've already mastered the input, yourself. That's where confidence lives. Not in noise but in clarity. Not in bravado but in consistency. So close the gap. Not to impress anyone, but because the man who walks in alignment doesn't just feel powerful. Yes, and that kind of power cannot be borrowed. It must be built. And so it starts when you choose to live your truth completely. The world outside of you is not the source. It is the reflection. It is a mirror of your clarity or confusion. It reacts to your strength or hesitancy. And in ways you're not even aware of, it is continually taking form based on what you permit, what you assume, and most importantly, what you believe. Humans spend their lives attempting to reorganize the outside. They change jobs, relocate to another city, trade partners, pursue better timing. But no amount of repositioning out there will calm you if you're a mess in here. Because the world outside doesn't calm you down, it mirrors it. It all starts from within. Your thoughts turn into your energy. Your energy turns into your posture. And your posture decides how the world responds to you. When you walk with confidence, the world can sense it even before you open your mouth. When you stand for something, people notice it even without a sign. When your energy communicates, "I know who I am," the world doesn't question you as much, not because it's simpler, but because you've ceased inviting confusion. Most are seeking validation, unaware their presence is requesting permission. They apologize for their voice. They minimize their worth. They shrink before anyone asks them to. But the one who focuses on himself, he moves differently. Not with arrogance, but with alignment. He does not demand respect. He commands it, not through words, but through consistency. Not through appearance, but through essence. Your internal world sets the tone for your external results. You cannot expect others to trust you if you don't trust yourself. You cannot hope opportunity to discover you if your energy drives it away with doubt, fear, and reluctance. So the question is not, how do I change the world around me? The question is, what have I let live within me that continues to create this experience? Your relationships, your money, your health, your time, they're all results of your inner order or disorder. And the good news is, no one is going to come and organize it for you. You have to clean house. You have to level up your beliefs. You have to eliminate the language that dilutes your intention. You have to construct the emotional infrastructure necessary to support the life that you claim you want. Taking care of yourself isn't narcissism. It's preparation. Because until you're in charge of your mind, you'll be in charge of nothing else. When your inner world is stable, the outer world can't rattle you. The storm may rage, but your anchor is secure. The people can depart, but your vision remains. The circumstances may change, but your direction is clear. And that sort of stability? It's not produced by control. It's the result of cultivation. The moment-by-moment practice of working with your mind, protecting your energy, living from your values. Because ultimately, the life you live isn't constructed around you. It's constructed from you. And when you grasp that, you cease to respond to the world and begin reshaping it. Your mind is fertile soil. Each thought you permit is a seed. It is not a question of whether anything will grow. It is a matter of what will grow. You cannot anticipate strength to emerge from a mind watered day after day with fear. You cannot anticipate courage to flower if your mind haunts you with doubt day after day. And yet this is what most people do, not on purpose but by default. They let everything in. They permit negativity, distraction, comparison, and criticism take root deep without ever looking at their origin. Your life goes in the direction of your prevailing thoughts, not your greatest thoughts, not the ones you share. The ones you repeat, silently, consistently, oftentimes without realizing. And those thoughts form your beliefs. Your beliefs form your decisions. And your decisions write the narrative you live. Being about yourself means becoming a gatekeeper, not a passive host. It means asking, is this thought making me stronger or weaker? Is this belief serving the man I am creating or chaining me to who I used to be? You are not helpless with your thoughts. You are the sower. You are the gardener. You have the power to choose what is planted. But that choice must be made on a daily basis, on purpose. Too many people tend weeds. They talk defeat into their days. They fill their lives with voices that make mediocrity normal. And they wonder why they never flower. But the man who observes his thoughts with deliberation, he starts to see patterns. He notices where doubt resides, where wounds of the past speak, where lies germinated. And he swaps them out, not with empty assurances but with fact, with discipline, with thought aligned with action. This is not about lying to yourself. It's about choosing that what resides in your head needs to align with what you wish to construct with your life. So communicate differently. Think with intention. Be merciless with what you permit to ring in your head. You would never allow anyone to poison your food and hope to flourish. So why ingest poison with your mind? The yield of your future is what the seeds planted by you today will harvest. Choose faith. Choose clarity. Choose vision. Because the field will expand whether you work it or not. And your life will be the culmination of what you let take hold. Purpose makes all the difference. It converts pain into fuel. It turns long nights into nights worth living. It brings direction to discipline and honor to sacrifice. Life is a grind without purpose. You wake up exhausted. You go through the motions. You check the boxes. But everything feels dead. You may be busy, but you're not satisfied. You're doing, but you're not becoming. Purpose is what makes all the difference. When you have purpose, your steps are still difficult, but now they are directed. Your struggles still arise, but now they shape you. They hone you rather than shatter you. Purpose does not make life simple. It makes it matter. And yet countless people wait for purpose to happen. They think it's lightning or a banner in the clouds. But purpose is not found. It is constructed, piece by piece, step by step, day by day. It starts as a whisper, a restlessness, a feeling that you were created for something more. Not more fame, not more comfort, not more applause, but more meaning. And that meaning is not given to you. You discover it by reaching, by living what matters even when nobody notices, by showing up with integrity when nobody applauds. Purpose expands when you stretch, when you encounter resistance and choose to persevere in spite of, when you refuse distractions not out of obligation, but out of devotion to something higher. The man with mission moves differently. He doesn't freak out during storms. He doesn't pursue every shiny object. He doesn't require authorization to start or validation to keep going. He is not drawn by the world. He is drawn by his calling. And that is the kind of man who cannot be stopped. For even failure makes him better. Even delay constructs him. Even resistance fortifies him. Purpose doesn't inquire if the journey is easy. It asks, is this worth it? And when the answer is affirmative, every struggle becomes sacred. Every step, however agonizing, becomes part of the becoming. So do not wait for clarity to find you. Begin acting with conviction and the way will emerge. Because purpose is not something you are born with. It is a fire you have to create and maintain each and every day. Your future doesn't get built in the future. It gets built in your everyday standards. The ones you maintain when nobody is around. Not the ones you talk about out loud. Not the ones you put on paper. But the ones you do. Most people don't fail because they don't have a desire. They fail because they never improve their standards. They continue striving for new outcomes while operating under outdated rules. And then they're surprised that things don't change. But you can't construct a strong life with half-hearted effort. You can't produce clarity while operating in contradiction. You can't make progress while respecting habits that keep you stationary. Standards aren't goals. Goals exist in the future. Standards exist in your actions. They manifest in how you allocate your time, in how you treat your body, in the strength of your convictions, in the integrity of your decisions. And every time you drop your standards to meet your emotions, you teach yourself that your feelings are the boss. But feelings are short-lived. Standards are made. Being self-centered means setting the terms of your life. What you will tolerate and what you will no longer stand for. Not because you're attempting perfection, but because you've chosen to be strong. There's a distinction between needing more and wanting more. When it becomes need, excuses disappear. You no longer negotiate with your lower self. You no longer wait to feel like it. You no longer drift through intentions. You do or you don't. You rise or you fall. And that dichotomy, that line, is your new beginning. The disciplined man holds his standards even on tough days. Not because it's easy, but because he doesn't want to betray the future he's creating. Every missed workout, every broken commitment, every compromised choice, they don't just hold you back. They chip away at your identity. They say to your mind, we don't show up. And that thought becomes your limit. But the reverse is also possible. Every time you follow through on a commitment, you pile evidence. I am who I said I would be. And that evidence becomes confidence. And that confidence becomes momentum. And that momentum turns into transformation. You're not holding out for motivation. You're holding out for standards. Choose what is non-negotiable. Draw the line. And then live higher than it. Because ultimately, it's not your dreams that make your destiny. It's your standards. And your standards are either the bridge to your ideal life, or the reason you never get there.